What's up, everybody? It's Jamie, the owner of Blue Diamond Vapors. I've got something super cool to show you tonight. This is the Sinuous FJ200 from Wismec, their brand new mod. Huge special thank you to Vivo Wholesale out in Las Vegas for hooking me up with this sample, not for sale. If you're a shop owner or you're an online retailer, I'm going to throw their contact information in the video description. So if you want to get your hands on these first, that you can do that. So let's jump right into this guy and let's talk about it. What is this device? This is a 4600 milliamp internal battery. Okay, so we don't have access to the battery pack. 4600 milliamp internal, 200 watt device. And as you can see, it is very small. It fits completely in my hands. Now, if you've never met me before in person, I'm not a huge dude. I'm only 5'5", but I don't have tiny hands. But with this device, it fits perfectly into the hand. Now, one of the things that I noticed right away, so I got this Thursday, today is Sunday, so I've only been using this device for about 3 days, but one of the things I noticed right away, running the Valerian 100 watts, was that the top of the device where the tank connects does get a little warm. Now keep in mind something. You're holding the whole device. Usually in a 2-battery device, what will end up happening is you're actually holding the device like this, and where my pinky is, there's a little bit of device. So I'll show you, this is a Wismec Predator, and when we put these guys right there, you can see there's a little bit of the device there. So when you're holding that 2-battery device, you don't have the whole device in your hand, right? But with the FJ200, you've got the whole device and then some inside your hand. So you do feel a little bit of the warmth in the top of the device. Now, is that a deal breaker? Absolutely not. It's just kind of something to be conscious of when you're using the device. So if you recognize this menu, it's probably because you're using Reload Gen 3. So this is the same menu we see in the Gen 3. And it functions the exact same way, 3 clicks of the trigger, and then we're using the left and right to access menus or make selections. These buttons have a cool little design, and they threw me off at first because I was trying to press the black on the buttons. But once I started just treating these like normal buttons and pressing them like I would any other normal button, no issues whatsoever. Now that may sound crazy to you, but I'll tell you right now, you know, my shop's been open for about 4 years, and I already know that there are going to be customers that will have some challenges with those buttons if you don't tell them, hey, just treat these like normal buttons. Don't worry about trying to just press the black there. The other thing that's cool about this device is the charge port is 2 amps. So most of the time when we see an internal charging port, it's a 1 amp port. But here we've got a 2 amp port, same thing on the Reload Gen 3, so you can charge the batteries super fast on a 2 amp port. In my house, I've got these little wall plates that I replace all my power outlets with that have a tablet USB port and then a cell phone USB port on the other side, and with that tablet 2 amp port, this guy charges super quick. It has a feature in it that I'm going to show you right now that is super cool, and it's called ENU mode. So to access it, what you do is you hold the right button and the power, or the trigger rather, and you're going to see we're going to jump in. So this is just our preheat selection, which we can actually turn off, and here's ENU, which we can turn on and off. Why you can turn it off, I'm not quite sure, but you can, but I wouldn't recommend it. So what does ENU do? It's really simple actually. If you have this plugged in and charging and the internal temperature of the board exceeds 45 degrees Celsius, it cuts the charge and it will no longer continue to charge until the device cools down, which I think is an amazing safety feature and something that we really should be embracing as electronic device users. Is anything that makes the device smarter, safer to use, it's always better. Okay, so I'm really happy to see them put ENU in this device, and hopefully we see other manufacturers kind of embrace that concept. Now, I've been using this, like I said, since Thursday, predominantly with the Valerian and the Crown 3 at 100 watts or 70, 80 watts if I'm using the Crown 3, and I've had no issues with it. I really like the device. The vape is awesome. The tank works as expected. The one thing though is this is a 4600 milliamp battery, so if I start vaping about 9 a.m., by about 5 o'clock I need to charge this battery. So this is not something where if you're like me vaping 4 or 5 tanks a day, that you're going to get through the whole day on one charge in this device. This is definitely a device though that's ideal if you're going to go out for 3 or 4 hours and you want to take something that's smaller with you instead of something that's a little bit bigger, so that you've got some more space, so to speak, and you don't have a giant device with you. For 4 or 5 hours, battery life for me is perfect. Now, if you're somebody that's using a single battery device right now, and you want a little more power out of your device instead of the traditional 80 watts, but you don't want to go up huge in size, then this is going to be perfect. Like, this is going to be probably the answer. Color-wise, you know, the one I have is blue. It's going to be available in black, red, and sort of that bronzish copper that Wismec does. So if you've seen a Sinuous 80 watt, the same color scheme you'll see in the FJ200, you'll see from the 80 watt devices, and in fact, they're exact match as far as the colors go. There is a green LED on both sides that illuminates. With the 80 watt device, you could change the color of that. With the 200 watt device, you can't. So maybe we'll see a firmware update that allows you to do that depending on how that LED light is set up inside the device, but straight out of the box, you were not able to do that. You do have, like I just mentioned, firmware updating, and you can see our little vent holes here, but this center post, actually the center hole is our hard reset button in case we have any issues while we're doing our firmware updates. So I don't know if Wismec has plans to allow us to change the LED colors, or for that matter, if you can. I just know in the 80 watt device that is an option that's selectable, so it wouldn't surprise me if we saw something down the road that allowed us to change the color here. Now, as far as price goes, it's not available retail yet, but just kind of based off the wholesale cost I've seen, I think that this device, body only, will probably end up being somewhere around maybe like 50 to 80 bucks, depending on where you're buying it. And if you get it as a kit with the divider tank, which I'll show you in a second, probably closer to $100, somewhere in the $80 to $100 range. To be honest, I don't know exactly what the retail price point is going to be because it's not quite out yet. So, pros of this device, super small in size. When we compare it to the Predator, let me just kind of line them up. You can see the Predator is slightly bigger. The bottom or the body, the width, they're identical. If you want to look at a little comparison with the Smoke Pro color, let me line those guys up. So you've got definitely a smaller device, but again, when we line up the width of the bottom, they're near identical, okay? So it's not a massive difference in size. It's about a pinky's worth in size of the device, okay? But it is for sure smaller. For people out there looking for devices to put in their purse or clutches, this may be the answer. I'm always concerned though when we're throwing devices in purses or clutches, just that they're gonna get banged up as a result of being in there with other stuff. Now, like I mentioned, 2 amp internal charging with that ENU mode, which will shut off if the device reaches 45 degrees, or excuse me, exceeds 45 degrees Celsius. So that's cool. Oh, check that out. Oh, nope, 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 there it is. There I am, whoa. In any case, really impressed with this device. Would I use this on a daily basis? The answer is no, and let me tell you why. I use a 3 battery device on a daily basis, and this battery is too small for me to go from morning to night without having to charge the device, and I may not be in a situation to charge the device, so that's not something I would carry on a daily basis. I would take this out at night though, if I'm headed out here in Las Vegas to meet friends for dinner or whatever, because I know that 4 or 5 hours, I'm gonna have plenty of battery. That's something that you are going to have to decide as a personal choice. How much battery do you need? If you're using a single battery device, I could definitely see you making a switch to the FJ200 so that you're not carrying a device that's bigger, where we're actually putting 2 cells in, but at the same time you've got more power than what we would normally have in a single cell, not just in battery life, but in wattage of the device as well. Keep in mind, most single batteries, we're only going to about 80, 85 watts, and here we have a full 200 so that we can make use of tanks like the Valerian, the TFV12 and the TFV8 with certain coils in it. Now, like I mentioned, it does come in kit form, and you get the divider tank with it, so I just want to show it to you since I have it. It is very, very similar to an Alabo tank, which is what we see on the Predator, and the Gnome tank, which is what we saw on the kit form of the Gen 2. So we've got a little engraving arrow here, and this is where our tank slides open. So on the Gnome, that's where that J-bow engraving would be, exact same port, and this tank has the same 2 mil, 4 mil design as the Gnome tank that we saw with the Gen 3, and what I mean by that is our tank will only normally hold 2 mils, and we've got this little rubber seal inside of it. If we pull that out, that's where we get the other 2 mils to take the tank up to 4. In my shop, I'm probably just going to stock this device body only. I think that there's a lot of great tanks out there. I don't dislike the Gnome or the Alabo tank, but I just feel like there's a ton of tanks out there that customers already have that perform just as well. And from a price difference, I will probably end up just stocking the body only. I think it's a great option kit-wise if you don't have a tank though. So if you're looking to set up an entirely new device, then looking at the whole kit may be a good option for you. So that's it. That's the FJ200 in a quick review. If you have any questions, like always, feel free to leave the comments at the bottom of the video. You can reach me on Facebook Messenger. You can call down to the shop, whatever it is that you'd like to do. And just as a quick follow-up on the Valerian, it's been about 3 weeks. Coils are lasting me anywhere from, I would say, 12 to 15 days. The flavor's on point. I love the tank. I'm looking forward to seeing the other finishes that come out. If you got a Valerian, especially after watching the video, let me know what your thoughts are on it. I'd love to hear it. I'm using the wave tip inside of it pretty much exclusively. And yeah, I'm impressed with it. FJ200. The Wismec Sinuous should be out in the next few days. Like I said, if you're a shop owner or you're an online retailer, I'll have Vivo's contact information in the description of the video so that you can pick them up so that you have them first. Take care.